Hello. So, for the first thing, I'm going to say trigger warning because I'm going to be talking about racism and sexual assault. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the book Out of Darkness by Ashley Hope Reders. And what I'm going to be talking about is reading through an ABAR lens. An ABAR stands for anti-bias and anti-racist lens. And so what it is you pick two, sorry, not two, I chose two. You pick passages and you talk about how that passage is a form of harm, and then you also talk about how it can be healing. So you start positive and then you start negative and then end positive, just so you make your students aware that like things can end right. Okay. So the first passage, okay, so I'll start off maybe explaining the passages a little before. So, or maybe the character. So there's Naomi, which is the oldest sister, and then there's Beto, which is one of her younger brother, and then there's Kari, which is Beto and Kari are twins. And Naomi is full, I think she's full Mexican, and then Beto and Kari, I believe, are half. Those are her half brothers and sisters. So, oh, sorry. And then there's the father, Henry. Henry is biologically not Naomi's dad, but she grew up with him. And then he is Beto's and Kari's father. He is white, Caucasian. Okay, so yeah, I'll start off with that. So the first thing that I saw was a form of harm was the way Henry addresses his kids and the way the use of names, if that makes sense. So I'll read the passage and then I'll explain it. Okay. Naomi shifted her weight from one foot to the other. She studied the floor, waiting to see what Henry would say. "Leave it on," he said finally. "I didn't know you kept it. Abuelita saved it for me from before Houston." She was careful. Once he had married her, Henry hadn't allowed Estella to dance, and his jealousy dictated what clothes she wore. "I heard music," Henry said slowly, yawning. "Beto fixed the radio." Naomi said, omitting Wash's involvement. "I'll be damned, Robbie," Henry said. He slapped the table and punched Beto on the shoulder. Okay, so the first thing there was that, sorry, I didn't mention this before. Beto's full name is Roberto, but his nickname is Beto. And one thing that I saw, this is the first time Henry has done that, but he calls Roberto Robbie. Like, to me, he was whitewashing his name, because he knows that they call him Beto, or that Naomi does and Kari does. So to me, that was a way Henry tried to take away what Roberto's like heritage is, and Naomi is trying to give it back. Like in the same scene that Henry trying to take away, Naomi is giving back by reassuring, like, Beto fixed the radio. And he said, like, "I'll be damned, Robbie." She's trying to keep like her heritage alive, even with just the fact that she calls him Beto and Henry wants to call him Robbie. Okay, so then Another time Henry did this. Okay, so this is the part that involves sexual assault. Just stating that. Okay, so okay. A moment later, he was behind her. Naomi's whole body stiffened. A rough hand gathered her hair and pushed it to one side. His face nuzzled her neck. He smelled of grease and dirt, liquor and cigarettes. She caught a whiff of cheap perfume. She tried to wiggle free, but his arms circled her waist and tightened like an iron band around her ribcage. "Stell, baby," he whispered, "let's dance." A thumb slid up on the side of her breast. "Stop it," Naomi hissed. She was afraid to raise her voice for the fear of waking the twins. "Christ, I've missed this, Henry. It's been so long." Okay, then he goes on, something else occurs, and then he says again, "Stell," she says, and Naomi says, "I'm Naomi." Okay, so that's as far as I'll go. And what I saw with this is not only was he doing it with his children, but even also with his wife, who, is passed. But even with his kids, he won't call their mother by her full name, Estela. He'll be like, "Oh, Stell." So to me, that was another way of him downplaying their heritage just because it wasn't his. Like I said with Beto, he's whitewashing the names. Okay, and then, sorry. A thing that I saw, the thing that was a really healing thing for Naomi was, or a moment of healing, is her Spanish. Whether she is, speaking it or hearing it, it is comfort for her. So I'll go back to this book shifts in times. Talks about the past and the present at the same time. So this is a memory Naomi had of her mother. The doll had dark ringlets, milky porcelain skin, and pink lips parted over painted white teeth. She wore a plaid jumper, and Naomi loved her instantly with all of her 5-year-old heart. She named the doll Nana before she even found her way to say gracias. And she knew that Nana would get to do things that she, brown and tongue-tied and full of wrong kind of words, could not. "Naomi, guess what?" her mother said as she Her mother smiled at her after she had said her thank you. "Henry's going to be your new daddy. Te gustaría, verdad que sí?" And Naomi knew that the trade was finished and she could not go back. So what I saw with that was that her mother, in a way to comfort her, asked her in Spanish the most, important question that she could ask, which, "Te gustaría, verdad que sí?" That means, you would like that, right? Like, you would really like that. And to me, I think the mother asked her in Spanish because that's where Naomi felt safe. And her mother felt that if she asked her in Spanish, then maybe she would understand that it was okay, that Henry was going to become her dad. And I think it's really important that Naomi sticks to her heritage and sticks to her Spanish, and I think it helps her to cope, and it helps her to heal all that is continuously broken throughout the book. Because she even talks to Cari and Beto in Spanish. And also what I saw throughout the book was that Henry was bothered by this, but I think that's something Naomi has that Henry can never take from her. And I think that's the biggest healing, because he can do everything else and take things from her, but he cannot take her Spanish from her. And that way he can never really take her heritage. So that is reading through an ABAR lens. Thank you.